3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone, and welcome
to.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Fortnightly Frontier, the premier Star Citizen podcast on this little tiny corner of Twitch. I am, as always, your host, Darjanator, and over there, having a very refreshing drink, is Myre, my co-host, my friend. Hello.
Hi.
How you been?
Been okay. How about you?
Oh, it's been slow the past few weeks. I mean, even with the current update, it's just there's a bit of a lull in my life right now, and
you mean SE content wise, right?
Yeah, true. I played a bit more Cyberpunk.
Have you finished it yet?
Yeah,
like 100% everything.
The board. I don't have all the achievements. I'm 77% on the achievements.
Right.
But I don't think you can be all 100% on the achievements on a single playthrough.
That's fair.
Because of the different starting archetypes, I suppose.
Yeah, but you've finished like all the missions and everything else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Map's empty.
Okay, at least when the DLC and stuff comes out, then at least you'll know exactly what's fresh and what you've done, and hopefully there'll be less bugs with those things, so you won't be mixing in like, you know, new clean content with potentially buggy content, which is cool.
I lie though. I didn't finish Beat on the Brat.
You know, I mean, like, so this is turning into a...
Yes. I mean, this is a preamble, but...
Right, yeah. But, no, I spent more time than I care to admit on Beat on the Brat, because I had, like, a intellect build in Cyberpunk, and it's a quest line about, like, fighting and, like, melee combat, which is broken in that game. Like... I spent all this time getting all the legendary add-ons and stuff so that my guys, like, his fists would go on fire when he punched, and the legendary items don't work. Only the epic items worked at the time when I was playing.
Oh, only the epic ones?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Because, like, I'm seriously considering spending 200,000 of my 500,000 of Ennies that I have. No, Eddies. To reset my character twice. Once to make it a body build and then go back to what it was. Just so I can finish the damn quest.
So you know that resetting your talents doesn't reset your the base points? You won't go to like 0 intellect. You will, however, remove the sub-specs that you put in there, so you are not able to do that. Yeah, it's not great. But yeah.
Yeah, and I'm level 50. There's nothing more for me to do.
Yeah.
It stops at 50.
Oh, okay. But yeah, Cyberpunk.
Anyway,
hopefully, you know, like it's a nice game and all, but you know, hopefully it does get more love going forwards and stuff like that. We do know it's one of those live service games. It was received. So
it was received, yeah.
So we know that they have
mixed
plans.
Feedback.
Yeah, we know they have plans. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. The multiplayer should be fun. But yeah.
Speaking of another buggy game, have you played Xenothreat?
I have. Yeah, I have. Yeah. Well,
I missed Phase 1. What was that like?
Phase 1 wasn't actually a thing. Phase 1 is basically...
Attention, people of Stanton.
That's Phase 1, literally.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just like every now and then, like when you're flying your ship, or if you're at Jericho for whatever random reason, you'll just hear the attention people of Stanton thing. It was just a standby, and then 24 to 48 hours, Phase 2 will happen. That was all it was. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I guess I didn't miss much.
No.
So it's basically the video that plays as the main thing on the page as well.
Yeah. That's exactly it. So they released that video that's on the YouTube channel now, and that's literally it. It was just playing in game like it did in the IAE. So that was cool.
Have you seen how that video is displayed in Microtech?
No, which video?
Because sometimes the Xenothreat video plays on video panels.
Even now,
game, right?
Yeah, even now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
in phase 2. Okay, how does it do it?
Well, all the panels are portrait.
Oh, so it doesn't work very well then.
You just, yeah.
Well, there was an attempt. You know,
yeah.
It was only in PTU for like a while, but yeah. So
I tried to avoid PTU. I wanted to get into it in a less buggy state, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's fair. So it was on PTU then, and for a while, and I didn't actually play the PTU because for this event, I wanted to make sure that it was as fresh as possible, because I think I've been in every single Evocati and every single PTU playtest for every single, essentially for every single piece of SC development. But because Xenothreat is like a dynamic event and it was one of the first ones and it was going to be, like for all intents and purposes new, I wanted to make sure that it was, I was seeing it through the eyes of like, like a new player,
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I mean, you have to, in a way, not playing the PTU is also very beneficial to the developers, because then if you're in Evocati and then in PTU, you're used to the bugs. You're used to the bugs going away, and then you have a very different angle at a new feature that's released than when you're first introduced to it, when they deem it good enough for the live environment.
Right. Oh, okay. So you're welcome, CIG. It was planned.
Yeah.
So have you done any phase 2 then, or have you seen?
Yes, yeah. I've done it a couple of times. Yeah, and it was a very different experience both times.
How so?
One was very PvP heavy, and the other one was really, really, really on the other side of the scale. Like there was one where there was the Idris fight, or if I went to the Starfarers to pick up the cargo, there were always players trying to get in people's ways, and they were very good PvPers. Like nobody survived on our side.
Yeah. It's an interesting one because like this Xenothreat event was not designed with PvP in mind, but
no.
It's one of those things that this is an MMO, and players will be allowed to do whatever they want within the constraints of the game, and it's up to the game designers to make sure that there are things for those who are PvP inclined to do. This being the first like event like this didn't cater to them, and so I kind of feel like it's kind of on CIG for this. And if people do not or don't get a chance to enjoy Xenothreat because of PvPers, well, that's not the PvPers' fault.
No, they had no incentive not to do what they do. I don't believe there's any reputation, either benefit or hit to it. Depending on which side you pick during the event, whether you're against the Xenothreat or you are against people who are actively engaging in fights with Xenothreat. Yeah, that would actually make it much more interesting in my eyes. Yeah, not just an occasional crime stat and then you go to jail for an hour, like proper penalties.
I mean, they could have built systems onto it. I mean, like I think that they will build on what they have right now, obviously. And one of those things would be to add some kind of like facilitated PvP, because otherwise, instead, what you get is like just unfettered PvP everywhere, people doing whatever they want to do, as opposed to, at least giving them an incentive, and as a result, also protecting people who don't necessarily want to get involved.
Sure, but this is still an alpha environment, and this I believe everybody now realizes that omitting this was a big mistake.
Right,
it will be taken advantage of, and for the next sort of event, of which there are how many planned? 8, 10, something like that.
A few, yeah,
yeah, yeah. There will be penalties in place.
Yeah.
So goody two-shoe players like me won't have to, pick and choose which server to go on, so they don't have to, constantly watch over their backs for more than just the intended threat.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a limitation that the devs had thought about, at least in the SCL where Jared interviewed Tony Z. Tony did, talk about PvP and say that, well, it's kind of on you as a developer if you do not cater for the inevitability of PvP. The fact that they haven't necessarily done that for Xenothreat might, in that case, just then mean it was a time-related thing, and they had thought about it, but they just weren't able to implement.
Or a server performance based thing.
But yeah,
just limitation of the current state of the environment without iCache and the other things that are supposed to leverage server performance.
Yeah. So we know of 2 other of these dynamic events that they have planned, other than Xenothreat. Yeah, I mean, so it's the Ninetales thing.
Ninetales lockdown or something like that.
That's the first one. We don't know any specifics. The only specifics we know are that unlike Xenothreat, you might be able to actually ally with the Ninetales in this, or be the good guys, and then you have that the good then you have that PvP thing already set in there. The other one I think was Invictus, and the only reason why I think it's Invictus is because when Tony Z mentions Invictus, Jared goes, "You just told him the other one." So
possibly, yeah, and I can imagine that from a morality point of view, it would be a lot more permissible to align yourself with the Ninetales, because they're a pirate group,
right?
So they go against the rich, the megacorps, the corrupt, for instance, like. At least, that is my understanding of it, without going into Paul-like levels of lore analysis.
Right.
But, Xenothreat, they're genuine assholes.
Right.
No?
They're separatists. They don't necessarily like the political bents that the UAE is currently on, and they don't like the aliens. They don't trust the aliens, and
very xenophobic. And as the current world we're living in, that's kind of bifurcating, or has been bifurcated along those lines. It's not a good stance to have, in my opinion. So I'm guessing that is the sort of. I don't like it. I don't like people actually just going with Xenothreat.
Right.
It's like they're saying very bad things about themselves. Even though it's a video game and it's imagined, but it's still
I think it's possible to separate that. I mean, it's like people who the Empire and Star Wars are cool. I mean, are they? It's kind of one of those things. They're cool because it's fantasy. And whilst there are parallels to some of these things in fantasy and in real life, I think that it's healthy to take a step back and see it for what it is. And, even though I think because there is that buffer of it being fantasy and not real life, you can take a step back and you can go, okay, sure. Yeah. And
I mean, they're just opportunists, taking advantage of a situation. But still,
I feel like if I was in the universe, then of course I would be super against Xenothreat, and it wouldn't be great and that kind of thing. But without, to put it mildly, we wouldn't be great. But without adversary, there is no game, there is no fun.
Yeah.
So
true.
Yeah,
true.
it's a necessary evil.
Yeah, but I'm not maybe saying that this also says what you are as a person, but it ties back to the point I made before, that there's no reputation repercussions of your actions. So like the in universe, you would be marked as a Xenothreat collaboratist,
Right.
and your opportunities in the game would be severely skewed and changed and limited.
Yeah. Like, let's say if Xenothreat event was, like, not today, but, like, in 3 years' time or something like that, once there's server meshing and once there are all these deeper things, then yeah, maybe. That's probably why CIG did not plan a join the Xenothreat, because it's too extreme, just in terms of like how would you then suspend your disbelief that your player wasn't actually a member of this xenophobic like terrorist cell,
Mm-hmm.
It's a good point, but I guess in future dynamic events, like once everything happens, do you think that CIG, will they have to start making things, I wouldn't say more realistic, but at the same time, like, you wouldn't just be able to randomly join the Empire in a Star Wars game if you were, like, a Republic, right?
Yeah, no. Probably, if everything becomes systemic, even Xenothreat would probably become a sort of organization on a technological point of view, where reputation mattered. So, and you would have to be very, you'd have to be a bad guy.
Right.
I'm not saying you're a bad guy, but you're a bad guy.
Right.
Where it would take quite a lot of effort and action to align yourself with a faction like that.
Right. So it's kind of like how, let's say, you come across two NPCs right now. One will be a bounty hunter, one will be a pirate. Which one will shoot you? It should depend on your reputation. And then you can then just extrapolate that and say, well, in this event. But then, what would you like? Would you like it, like, let's say an event's on the horizon, right? Like, you have good guys and bad guys, and there's you. Would you like to either A, at the beginning of the event, choose your side? Or would you like it so that, based on your decisions going forwards, let's say the game's been out for 6 months, you're on that side? Doesn't matter, because like they already know you, they like you, you're on that side. Would you like that, like I guess more gamey choice of A and B, or would you like it to be like it's because of what I've done?
I kind of both. I mean, like because unless you are a sort of a celebrity figure because of your actions in Star Citizen, not everybody's gonna know who you are. So your reputation only gets you so far.
Mm-hmm.
So unless it's a guild on the one side or an organization on one side that you're very familiar with and they're familiar with you, only then would they go immediately, hey, we know that guy, you come with us, you're going to help us.
Right.
But if you just step into a new system where nobody knows who you are, then you have a lot more freedom to choose which side you're on.
Right. So yeah, like
healthy mix of both,
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it's just that when I think about this, and like with the Ninetales lockdown coming in, I just remember like when Mass Effect 3 came out, and everybody was so furious about the ending not having like like not necessarily being as a direct exact result of their entire playthrough. Why would going into one of these events be any different to those players?
Yeah, well, then on the other hand, it kind of shows the whole thing what Star Citizen is supposed to be. You're just a cog in a big machine.
Okay.
Events in the universe happen with or without you.
Right. I just don't, for me, it's like, why should the reputation system matter if, like, it doesn't for these events? But maybe I'm overthinking it.
Yeah, well, it's well, if you get into too far into it, it's so easy to then get into the realms of the chosen one of any RPG.
Right?
Like you were like in Mass Effect, you were supposed to be the chosen one,
right?
Shepard. Yeah, and that I can really see it being a point of contention where the ending didn't matter, or your actions in the entire trilogy didn't matter to what the outcome of the game was.
Right.
And I'm actually very interested in what they do with the remastered version, which is coming out in May, I think.
That soon?
Yeah.
The remastered version, is that like 1, 2, and 3, or just 3, or all 3?
1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
They are all models, replaced models or updated models, updated textures. They are also putting the quote-unquote iconic femship from Mass Effect 3 in all 3 games.
Oh yeah, I saw
for the models.
That.
Yeah. But I'm wondering, like, whether they'll also unify the combat system and stuff like that, because it was very different from 1 to 2 to 3.
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting.
And
but
the Mako.
But I'm also interested
well,
if they'll be changing the ending. Like the DLC changed the ending. It wasn't just, one of the 3 colors. It actually kind of, your choice did sort of mean something in the end.
Okay.
But still didn't.
And what about Andromeda?
What's that?
A constellation.
No, they're not
variant.
remastering that one. They're not remastering that one. It's a bit too new.
Right. It's fair enough. So yeah, I mean, so with Xenothreat, we know that it has 4 phases. We mentioned earlier, phase 1 was just basically, hey, the Xenothreader exists, they're there. Phase 2 has been, we haven't actually talked about what you actually do in phase 2.
Oh, yeah. And I didn't actually manage what happened the other time that I played phase 2, but I'll get to that afterwards.
Yeah.
So in phase 2, basically, the Idris appears. Much to everyone's surprise.
The Idris appears?
The Xenothreat one.
Well, that's not what starts phase 2, though. Phase 2, the Javelin appears.
Oh, right.
That's the start of
it.
Yeah.
Right.
The Javelin appears at IMS Jericho, and then it's there and it needs supplies. So then players have to go and find these destroyed cargo ships and get the supplies back. And it's like 3 different kinds of cargo, and they're completely different compared to cargo we've had before because they have different conditions. One will explode if it takes damage. One will explode if you go into quantum, and then the other will go inert if you don't deliver it in time.
Right. So they're all unstable cargo.
Yeah.
Instead of stable, what was the majority of it we had before, apart from Quantanium.
Yeah. So and then with that, they also then have the Xenothreat AI coming in to attack you and stop you from doing that. And Idris does show up, as you mentioned before, at IMS Jericho, like midway through it. And there's also FPS aboard the derelict ships as well. So they've kind of mixed all forms of gameplay we currently have into this one event in a really cool way.
Yeah. But it's not only that, there's also a bit of problem solving. Is it for all of them or just some where for you to get the cargo out, you have to open the big cargo bay doors on the Starfarer?
It's all the Starfarers. So
it's all of them.
Yeah.
Right.
So the Starfarers on Xenothreat are different from the ones planet side because they are randomized in terms of what doors are open and what doors are closed. So you have to do a once over, see which door is open, and then go downstairs, fight through NPCs, and then I think this is one of the first systemic items that we've seen in the game. There was this one ISC that they showed, an item that you could use to bolt a door open and stuff. There is a little generator that's by the door of the Starfarers, a hangar door, and you have to press the on button on the generator to open the doors.
Yeah.
So
I kind of feel that's not the same thing. I think they just moved the open door button to a different model, because when you press the off button, the doors close, right?
Yeah, when you press the off button, but on the normal Starfarer as it exists currently in game, there is no open and close button. It's just a panel. But in the Xenothreat Rex, on the generator, it's using building blocks. When you mouse over,
sure,
and it's on.
But
and
it's but it's not like you have to take a generator, open up a panel, plug it in to power the system that controls the opening of the door. It's basically just...
It's been done for you.
Yeah, it's been done for you, which is why I believe it's all the things that we've seen, the systemic approach to that, whether it's manually forcing a door to open or fixing a relay to fix a circuit, or stuff like that, that's still not in yet, unfortunately.
Right.
So it's basically they just moved the location of the button that controls the door. For now,
I think it's more than that. If only because on the generator, it's 2 buttons using building blocks as opposed to the use function that's on the start.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, cool.
But I could
but it would be amazing, like if the generator wasn't there.
That is true. If you had to
find it or bring it with you or jerry-rig it some other way, maybe use one of that manual door opener to just open the door a little enough for people and boxes to go through. That I think would actually make more sense
than a generator plugged to a door.
But also for why you can only move a single box at a time. You don't, because these perishable cargo, for lack of a better word, they're contained in 2x2 boxes, which maintain a certain environment for those boxes to not be unstable, right? But the doors is big. Doors are big enough. Yeah. They're not too deep. Okay, so the actual containers are too deep, but it's not 2x2x2 of actual boxes. The other half of that is just machinery to maintain it.
I think it depends on the box. Now I think about it.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it depends on the kind.
Could be. But anyway, if you're only the main door of the Starfarer is big enough to just for a lot of people with tractor beams to just grab the huge box and take it out. Right?
Yeah.
But if you're only able to open the cargo door a little bit, you can't take the big box out, and that is why you have to open them up and carry boxes out individually.
Right. Yeah. I think it's the time-sensitive one, the green ones that go inert, that doesn't have a second face on the other side, because that's all the machinery to keep it stable. And
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Then the blue ones that have like they're basically suspended like my microphone is. Those ones like like you do have boxes on either side of them and that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Hannah says they're all 2x2, not 2x2x2.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, it would make sense. They would all need some sort of machinery. The yellow ones to shield them from whatever quantum interference is that makes them blow up.
Yeah.
The green ones to maintain them so they don't go inert, and the blue ones to sort of to be shock absorbers so they don't damage when they're jostled when the ship takes damage.
Yeah. So we know that there is they're going to be a few other kinds of, I guess just variants of what we have right now. So for instance, time-sensitive cargo that goes inert, we have here those green boxes, but they've mentioned that like there'll be food delivery as well that will get cold, so I guess go inert, right? And that was on the monthly report as another piece of cargo, like food that...
So pizza.
Space pizza.
Space pizza, yeah.
Spizza.
Is that the name of your chain that you're going to open?
Spizza Pizza, yeah. But
yeah.
So I feel like what I hope is that this isn't the last we're going to see of these boxes, and once Xenothreat's over, we'll start to see missions that start incorporating these boxes just in general.
Although I think, or at least I hope, it will be in a way that you get also access to the big boxes as well, because I forget the name of what it is of the quantum sensitive one.
Diluthermite.
There we go.
It's like dilithium, but sounds worse.
Imagine transporting that across systems.
Take a while, hey?
Yeah, years.
But like, the thing is, it's...
Imagine how many events you'd miss.
Right? But the thing is, like, the boxes you take the Dilutermax out of I imagine, stabilizes it, right? And the fact that you're taking out the small 1x1s or the small half SCUs is why it's quantum sensitive, and the things you're taking them out of are actually like what keep them stable. So
yeah, exactly.
when you're
so
doing
we
this,
would,
go on.
So for that to be a viable cargo, you would need
To have like a stabilizer on your ship for it.
Sure, yeah. Or just have the portal load up the big 2x2 boxes, and then when you deliver them to the main hub, the people who need it need just the one.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I think it opens up a lot.
A very carbonated beer. And then, the mission to deliver just the one box of this quantum sensitive item, they're not gonna give you an entire 2x2 box for that, because it's far too expensive. No, you take this box and you walk it to where it's supposed to go.
Right.
So because these missions are supposed to, branch out, literally. They have the big delivery of a lot of that to the main hub.
Yeah.
And then you have smaller deliveries to smaller hubs, and then you have the tiny deliveries, to all the different ending locations.
Yeah. I think for it kind of opens up a few cool things, I suppose, for cargo going forward. It's not just cargo missions, but cargo in general, because it means that like not only would you have a ship that has like X amount of SCU, but as an item, you may now need to have like one or two of these like specialized kinds of racks in your cargo grid just so you can move certain things around, and those things could be expensive and could need to be repaired or have a certain amount of usage time, and so it would expand cargo a bit more, so it will require a bit more thought than just go from A to B.
And it takes up one big cargo box of space, but only holding 4 of the small ones instead of 8 or more.
Yeah.
So it's not only an initial investment, but it's also limiting you in just how much cargo your ship is able to carry, because it's literally halving your theoretical capacity. So on the other hand, delivering cargo like that should be a lot more profitable.
Yeah.
To actually be a viable option.
But there's an interesting point. We do know that they've mentioned that going forwards, they're going to make it so that instead of right now when you buy cargo, it just shows up in your hold as a visual representation of what cargo you have, and you can't move it, you can't touch it really, but it's there physically. When your ship blows up, then it breaks up into boxes that represent the boxes that you had, but in smaller form. Like with these missions now that we have in Xenothreat, you walk up to these machines, you press a button, and then it ejects these boxes and you can take them out. But do we know? I mean, in the future, right? With these SCU boxes going forwards, are you going to be inside them? Do they exist these smaller same cubes or what? And I'm just trying to think in terms of piracy and that kind of thing.
I don't think so. Okay. I don't think so. I think the big boxes are just larger containers. So if you want to move, for instance, a huge container of loose wheat, when you open the box, it's not going to be like a bunch of small containers that you could grab with your hands and carry.
It's too gamey.
Would need machinery to be able to grab the huge container and move it as a single unit.
Right, so it depends on the commodity then.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But, I really see no reason why the big boxes of these 3 sensitive materials shouldn't be just completely just transferable to actual gameplay for traders.
Right.
Because they all seem to have a purpose.
It's true. I would argue the only thing though would be that these specific items look like they are designed to be transported within those larger boxes, and it's just a conditional thing that because they're not in their normal constraints that they need to be ferried by your ship within an X amount of time, right? Like in the universe, like let's say if it was real life, there's no reason why you'd be moving these boxes like without the things that keep them safe, right?
Yeah. Which is why it's kind of odd that you have to do it during Xenothreat. It's sort of like a half state with unbuilt systems. Like if you have a couple of people with the big handheld tractor beams, not the multi-tool ones, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to even unplug the big box, carry it to your ship, and then plug it in to power it so it maintains its function.
Yeah, so I think that if we're to see these boxes come back after Xenothreat, it would be, again, just a ship is wrecked somewhere. It has Diluthor on it. Bring it aboard, because that way, like, otherwise, if it was like, take this Diluthor from, like, ArcCorp 141 to somewhere else, it doesn't make sense because because it's in a normal environment. You'd expect it to have the necessary precautions, right?
Yeah. We are getting an overhaul of the cargo system, though. So maybe that's part of it. It's actually physicalized cargo entities instead of just placeholders to show what you've got.
Yeah, like with the push and pull, and the more people pushing, the better it pushes, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Multi-crew trolley pushing.
Locomotion.
yeah, is what they call it. Such a a big brain word for
for dancing.
For that too, yeah. But I'm looking forward to it. I just went onto the Xenothreat website just now to see if Phase 3 had happened while we're talking, just simply because it's now Monday. But I think, so for those who are watching and if they're catching this in a timely kind of manner, it does seem like each phase is about 48 hours long. Phase 1 started on Friday. Phase 2 actually did start on Saturday. It's now Monday evening, and I believe it's still Phase 2. I think that it would likely be Phase 2 until maybe tomorrow or the day after, just because not everybody, is a hardcore gamer that has time, and it would suck.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what about the weekend players?
Yeah.
If the entire 3 phases proceeds in 48 hours, it's possible that those people who only have time to play on the weekends are not going to get any out of it.
So you think that Phase 3 will happen this Saturday or Friday?
It would make sense from an inclusivity point of view.
Right.
But, then again, this entire thing kind of messes with my immersion. It's meant to be this one-time bombastic event, but it resets every hour.
Yeah.
So it's the first. I think it is actually the first bit of a classic MMO that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, I mean, not many MMOs do these systemic kind of things where everybody comes together to do something in a collaborative way like this. I can only think of, I haven't really been playing many MMOs since I joined Star Citizen, but Final Fantasy XIV did this. I think Guild Wars 2 did this to some extent. World of Warcraft didn't do this, or doesn't do this. I don't think Star Wars does this. It's not a very common thing, but yeah, I agree to some degree. It does kind of immersion wise. It's why does it happen every hour? But with other MMOs, it's why does a dungeon reset every week and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They could have made it so that once you complete Phase 2 and it's on your ledger that you've completed Phase 2, that you don't get the mission, and so you don't get the quantum beacons, and so you're basically waiting. That could work.
But you could be in a party with someone who gets it, and then, group quantum travel. That would be a sort of a backdoor way to get in to get some more money out of it.
That's how they mentioned that they wanted the Arlington Idris mission to work in the first place. But I think somewhere along the line, they just decided against it. I'm not sure exactly why, but yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, the second time that I did it,
yeah,
we had no PvP and we had no party people it was basically just a bunch of individuals talking in global chat about how to do all the things, fight the Idris. They were coordinating Idris attacks, like which shield phase to concentrate fire on, because they saw that one was failing, and etc. And then when we went to the Rex, we were down just to 5 Zetas.
Right.
That was the last thing that we needed to do, and some people saw me put a box of Zeta into my Avenger, and then everybody just went, we need 4 more Zetas in the Avenger, and then just out of nowhere, and then people just, not that for me asking, it just organically happened. 4 more Zetas got into my Avenger. I got in the cockpit, flew to Jericho, turned them in, and the mission was done. And everybody went, yay! So it was like very, very organic, and no pre-planning, no pre-organization, and it just happened, and it was really, really cool to see.
So here's the thing about all this. Throughout the entirety of this game, or this alpha or whatever, with missions and everything else, it's all been very selfish. It's all, you do this, and if you don't do this, you failed. And then Xenothreat came along, and they tell you to do something. And so immediately, even though the ticker is going up and you're not doing anything, people are like, I need to do this myself. The first couple times that we tried doing Xenothreat as like an org, like other people would like basically try and like go into the same wreck as us, move our ship away so they can get boxes into their ship, even though it means absolutely nothing. I kind of feel as if there was a beat missed by CIG where like, people were told a bit more, like on the nose, you're all in this together, as opposed to having to basically guess. Because, as you say, it's a really cool, really awesome, immersive, cooperative experience that, when things are going that way. But the moment you get somebody who's selfish-minded, and we've been programmed to be selfish in Star Citizen because things like this haven't existed before, then you have issues where things don't work out. Like today, and I guess I kind of... Yeah? What?
They're in chat.
What?
Xenothreat. They're in chat.
What?
Xenothreat. You do not see them.
Oh. Should I ban them? But yeah. Anyway, like today, where was I? I was really random. Yeah, like today on the whole collaboration thing, like we ended up putting a whole bunch of boxes into like somebody else's ship, and then all of a sudden they started grabbing some of them and chucking them back out again. And they weren't chucking out the quantum travel stuff, which was really confusing because like that would be the one to throw out. They were just throwing out like the green boxes, even though they were fresh and they could have done it. So in voice over IP, I pull out my I pull out my pistol and I go, "Hey, what are you doing? Leave those boxes alone." I'm aiming at him. I'm like, "Just leave the boxes alone, okay? Let's do it. Let's do them all." Then I start taking the boxes back in. I turn my camera behind and he shoots me in the back of the head. It's like, but we're supposed to be cooperating, right? But yeah.
So we have very different experiences of this entire thing, and which I think is kind of neat. I mean, you have the selfish, and you have the selfless, and you have the people who want to help, and you have then you have that. It's like you have the good, you have the bad, and you have the ugly. You have the people who have no idea what they're doing. They're just there. And and I think that's a good indication of the entire spectrum of possibility. It would be boring if everybody knew exactly what to do. But it's fun to see once in a while where all the things come together and work the way they're supposed to.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I guess that's why this event's gone on for longer than just like one evening. It's because there is just so much that can happen and so many different variables that each time you do it, there's going to be something slightly different happening. So yeah, I'm behind it.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it very much. I haven't been enjoying the FPS.
Oh, I mean, like, this is just Star Citizen in a nutshell, really. I mean, like, you log on and the performance is okay. And then I think like half an hour to Xenothreat, like I get like sub 20, 15, 10 FPS. But yeah, that's just how it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's very fine at Jericho. I'm getting up to 40 FPS, but I think that's because of just, I think something to do with the gas clouds and something to do with just how many people are in the area. Because there will be a lot more ships, a lot more people, a lot more physicalized entities in those wrecks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think Phase 3 is going to be? Because, like, in Phase 2, you do all this stuff, and Idris can show up, and you can fight it back. It kind of sounds like it blows up, but goes into quantum, which maybe I think is just like a sound bug, and it's actually just retreating. Or it's supposed to be
I think it's retreating, yeah. Although I think some people have been able to actually bring its health down to 0 before it's able to retreat.
Right. And does it just retreat still and make explosion noises?
I think it actually blows up. I think it actually does just properly blows up the way we've seen in leaks and stuff like that.
Right.
And in the PTU. But it's supposed to retreat. Yeah. And then they come back. And then I think Tony said that depending on how well the entirety of the Star Citizen community performs in restocking the Javelin in Phase 2, that is how it will behave when it comes back for Phase 3 to help you with the fight.
Hold up. So does that mean that even though we've completed Phase 2, we should keep playing this Xenothreat event because more successes will mean a better Phase 3?
That's what I got from that Star Citizen Live with Tony, yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that kind of changes a lot. Before I was like, well, I've done my Xenothreat, but now it's like, well, we gotta do better because Phase 3 will suck otherwise.
Yeah,
that's a lot of pressure to put on to put on us gamers, but because now it's like that's what I have to do. But yeah, I think that's an interesting thought. Right. And then with Phase 3, of obviously, then the Javelin will fight the Idris based on SCL
in space,
or
moving
ISC.
instead of being just docked. Yeah, I think it's even in the trailer for Attack on Stanton, you can see it engaging. With the Idris or more.
Yeah, which then leads to the question of: is it going to be a different Idris? Because that Idris is, I mean, like, I wouldn't say it's squishy, but, like, it dies in under a minute. And now you're going to put
it?
Well, I mean, with the right people fighting it, yeah.
Sure, with the right people, with an army, yeah. But in one of my playthroughs of this entire thing, we had almost the entire server wailing on it, and it took 20 minutes to bring its shields
What
down.
ships did they use? What weapons did they use? Again,
like small and heavy fighters, but not torpedo boats. Yeah,
exactly. So with the right people, it doesn't take very long. So,
like I said, if you have an army, it doesn't take long.
No. So, like, what other things are you gonna do in Phase 3 to make it longer? Like, Phase 2 can take a long ass time because it requires people to move those boxes along, and you know, like, if you don't, like I kind of did, and like basically everybody who I was with were just like, oh wow, Jericho's shiny today, you know, like so it took about an hour to do. Like, what other things are you gonna do in Phase 3? How are you going to pace it out?
More Idrises?
But is that realistic? I mean, isn't the Idris supposed to be like it's a capital ship?
Sure, but it's the smallest capital ship. It's a frigate.
No, it's not. The 890 Jump is the smallest capital ship.
The 890 Jump is a pleasure yacht.
It's still a capital ship. But like, even though, yeah, the Idris is one of the smallest capital ships, at the same time, it's still an Idris. I mean, like, Squadron 42 is set on the Stanton, right? So, like, it's supposed to be something with, I don't know, it's expensive. I mean, I don't know. I'm pulling this lore out of my ass,
I think it's meant to be just big enough to give you a sense of safety and security in Squadron 42, but not big enough to be invulnerable.
Right.
There's still, I think they chose it well to have certain risk to it. It's not this. It's not. I don't think it's meant to be this. This superior, invulnerable, indestructible, like bastion of safety for you. It's still. It's supposed to be fine. It's supposed to be safer than just being out there on your own. But still, there's still supposed to be a risk to it. I mean,
you're right.
It wouldn't be if you just landed there and all danger is gone.
It's not a sanctuary. It's not a floating sanctuary. No, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, and then translated that into Star Citizen, it would make sense that it's not the be all and end all of every battle. I mean,
for the UEE,
there, that's why the Bengals there.
For the UEE, but for Xenothreat around a bunch of space racists, I mean, why do they have like multiple Idrises, or why would they have multiple Idrises?
Well, you can imagine they've been planning this for a long time.
Fair.
Idrises are centuries old as well.
Fair. So. Okay. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see.
There's a lot of lore and there's a lot of loopholes for them to take.
Rabble. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Their test squadron.
But it's funny. But yeah, a few officers in test squadron for lore reasons are anti-Xeno, so they would probably be with Xenothreat, honestly. But yeah. Again, that goes to the whole, like, it's just a fiction thing. But yeah. Well, regardless, I think we've kind of covered a whole bunch of Xenothreat, and honestly, it's sad that maybe we should have, like, left this one until Xenothreat was over, just so we could, like, talk about the entirety of the event.
Sure, but that may take longer than I'm comfortable with, and I wanted to get my thoughts out while they're still fresh in my brain. There's no reason why we shouldn't do a repeat of this once the entire thing is over, and then we can look back at the entire event. And
I think we should. I think we should do a Xenothreat look back, because we don't know exactly when, when Phase 3 is going to come in. Again, I think maybe the weekend would be a good time, because we'll get a better sense of pacing for these events going forwards, and in terms of expectations for things going forwards as well, like the lockdown event and not the IAE event, but the Invictus event.
Invictus.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'd still say that it would be. It would be nice if it was once a week that the phases progressed, not because it would then make it a predictable thing, but just because more people would have the chance to play it. Right.
I mean, there are four phases in an event, from what we've seen so far with this one at the very least. There are 4 weeks.
Oh, there's a fourth?
So Tony Z said that there are 4 phases. That being said, Phase 1 was literally just stand ready for Phase 2. That was literally what Phase 1 was.
And Phase 4 would be just a video message thanking us for our...
Who knows? We have no idea. It could be as short as Phase 1, or it could be a whole thing. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't know. I mean, so Phase 3, I'm expecting it to be more action-based again. Phase 2 did really well in, again, marrying everything you can possibly do in Star Citizen into one thing. You can dogfight, because you have to stop the Xenothreat ships from coming in and attacking the Javelin, but also protecting your friends who are in the ships. There was FPS combat on the ships as well. There was cargo missions as well. What gameplay archetypes weren't in Phase 2? Mining. What else? So there's mining, but I will have to wait and see. What else?
Racing.
Does racing exist in Star Citizen?
It does if you ask Atmo Esports.
True. I'm an Atmo Esports commentator, so I shouldn't have asked that question. But still,
as an official mechanic, it's... it was, but not anymore. Like the scramble races, they don't exist anymore, do they?
They got scrambled, yeah. So, like, bounty missions, I suppose.
Bounties,
but
I think escort is kind of supposed to be there. I think one of the voice messages is go find those ships and make sure they don't get destroyed. Yeah, but I don't think anybody's actually managed that. They all just get blown up, and then you have to ferry the cargo by hand.
Yeah, I've only ever focused on the derelicts, so I don't know about that. It might be that Phase 3 might be more hands-on escorting something that's actually moving. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be something we haven't seen. Bounty hunting, I think it's just a subset of just normal fighting. I mean, like, it'd just be kill that named guy. Oh, but it's a group event, so like everybody's killed that named guy. Or like I don't think that's necessary. I think it'd be kind of wonky if they had like a random name thing that wasn't Idris sized that everybody has to fight together, like raid boss sized.
Lieutenant Porter says that they did one of those escorts on Yacht Club.
Yeah, I think that.
Oh dear,
your face is froze. There you go.
Hello.
You gotta massage your jaw. Yeah. But
I got nothing from you. So
you didn't hear me at all?
No.
Okay, so I heard you. So basically, you said what Porter said there about Yacht Club. Again, I think if you basically decide to stay around Jericho, there are ships that show up that try and get to Jericho that you need to protect. I think that is in Phase 2. So so Phase 3, apart from this, like Godzilla let them fight moment, I really don't know what they're gonna add.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
A good ending to that would be going over to Pyro. They're from Pyro, aren't they, Xenothreat?
I don't know.
Or to wherever they're from, and getting rid of their high-ranking lieutenants and stuff like that. I don't think getting rid of the big boss would ever be a thing, just because that would mean the collapse of the entire organization, I suppose, in some way, and they don't want them to go away.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if the conclusion of Xenothreat was to end Xenothreat, then they'd have to think of a different big bad. So, yeah. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe there might be another Xenothreat event down the line where that does happen, but I don't think... I mean, maybe they would, right? This is CIG we're talking about. They could add an entire storyline and finish it before the game gets released.
Also, do you think all these events that are coming before the game is quote unquote released, and for the mainly that all our accounts get reset? Do you think these events are just going to be put on the back shelf and then reused when the game launches, or is this it for them?
I would think that this would be it. This is all we're doing right now, as far as I can see or I can tell, is basically just the prologue for the release. But yeah, I think going forward, I'll definitely try and do more of the PvP stuff with the Xenothreat thing. The box stuff is cool, but I've done it a bit now. Maybe I'll do some more of that after. Depends on how long Phase 2 lasts. There have been some issues, though, with combat in general. We did start off trying to do combat, but there is massive desync when you're in a turret. It's worse than it's ever been. And
there is currently a thread on Spectrum for devs asking for help with investigating multi-crew desync. Yeah,
so I'll likely go in a single like fighter or something, and then with the org just have a wing and do it that way. That could be fun. Yeah. All right then. Anyway, I think this was a good one, and we should definitely in a couple weeks or something talk about the end of it.
Yeah, definitely. So watch this space for in the next fortnight we shall return and wax Platicle some more.
Yes.
Trying to be more articulate, it's not working.
It's a podcast. I don't think you should. It's already long enough. But thank you so much everybody for watching, and we'll see you in the next Fortnightly Frontier. Until then, no, that's what I say. We'll see you in the verse.
In the verse.
Yeah.
Hey, you got it this time around.